Hi, hello, vanakkam, zdravstvuyte, ni hao. Today I want to be talking about something very interesting. As you can see in the title, 24 spirits in one body. So this is a story which happened back in Ohio in the 1970s and 1980s. It was a time period when parents were very scared to let their daughters out of the house because there was a man out there running free who's kidnapping women, raping them, and then dropping them back where he kidnapped them. Okay, so when you hear about this man, this rapist, I'm sure a lot of emotions rise up in you, like anger, hatred, despise, contempt, everything. But would you believe it if I tell you at the end of the story, when you understand his life journey, you would feel more compassion and empathy instead of anger? Interesting, right? Listen to the story, come to your own conclusion. It's going to be a very interesting story. To explain how interesting this actually is, when police actually arrested this man and asked him, why did you rape these three women? He said, no, I did not do that. That wasn't me. That was a lesbian named Adelana. Like, jaw-dropping, right? So they went back and asked the girls, the three girls, so are you sure this is the guy who raped you? They said, yes, we were kidnapped. We were brought to a secluded place. And he did molest us, but he did not technically rape us. So it's quite confusing, right? To explain what this is about, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the movie Split. Yes, multiple personality disorder. This is what Billy Milligan had. And I think the movie Split was also partially adapted from him because he had 24 separate different personalities inside his one body. So to explain about this in more detail, we have to time travel a bit to 1950s, right? February 14, 1950, a boy was born named William Milligan. He was born to a family where the mother already had multiple relationships prior to this, and then the father he was born for is one of the persons she had relationship with. He was born into a family with a lot of siblings, so he was somewhere in the middle without getting much attention. His father, on the other hand, was someone who was very troubled with fatherhood, very depressed all the time, addicted to alcohol and gambling, attempted suicide twice, and the second time he actually succeeded in killing himself. How he did it was inhaling carbon monoxide. For those of you who don't know what carbon monoxide is, it's the exhaust gas from the car. Don't inhale it, you can die. So after the father died, the mother continued to have multiple relationships and finally went back to Ohio, where she got married back with her ex-husband, Calmer Milligan. This is where Billy Milligan's life turned into hell. Calmer Milligan was described as someone who's abusive, loves to bully and torture the kids, and Billy Milligan got the full force of it. Billy Milligan was beat up, physically abused, sodomized, sexual abuse on a kid, and the worst part is, just so you can understand what he went through, Calmer Milligan will actually ask him to dig a hole in the ground, make the boy sleep inside there and cover it up with sand, telling him that I'm going to bury you alive, you're going to be dead. So this is the life that this child had. And when this was happening to him, he was like so he wanted the pain all to go away. He was wishing that, why not all this happened to somebody else? Why does it have to be me? When he kept on having this thought over and over again, what happened was, without him realizing, the brain started creating another personality without him knowing. So every time this incident happened, instead of Billy Milligan feeling sad, another personality was going through all those trauma. So that when Billy Milligan came out of this episode, he's going to have a normal life without having to carry the burden of what just happened. So as this went on and his life continued on, this started happening over and over again. Every time he wanted something he couldn't get and there was an obstruction there, his brain created another personality, to the point where he had 24 different personalities within him. Later on, he was asked, how does it feel? Once he was arrested, he was asked, how does it feel with 24 different personalities? He said, inside me is a dark room. So imagine a dark room and there's only a light in the center of it. Surrounding the dark room is 24 different people just standing, waiting for their turn to get their chance in the light. Whoever stands in the light is in the driver's seat. They control the body movement, they control the action, they control the thoughts. To help you understand about this separate personality, let me try to explain the part of when he was being buried alive. Every time he was buried alive, this character Danny came over. Danny is the keeper of fear. He's afraid of sand and adult males. Okay. For you to understand deeper, I'll explain on 10 characters out of these 24 characters. And also, one important thing to note is, for the first time in human history, Billy Milligan was pardoned for his crime because of insanity. He was the first person who did it, to say that these crimes were done, yes, but it wasn't by me. It was because I had this multiple personality disorder. So for this, I shouldn't be punished, but I should be given treatment. He was the first person who did that. So as to move on to the 10 characters, I wrote it down so that I won't forget what I'm telling you. Alright, so the first character is obviously Billy Milligan, the core character, the first person who ever was there. And after Billy Milligan, character number 2 is Arthur. Okay, Arthur is this 22-year-old Englishman. Keep in mind, Billy Milligan was born in the US. Arthur is someone with an English dialect. And he is a specialist in science, mathematics, and hematology. He can write and read in Arabic. Every time he needed to sound intellectual, every time he needed to have an intellectual conversation with anyone, Arthur would come over. The third character is Reagan. His full name is Reagan Vadaskovinic. He's a Yugoslavian, someone who's very muscular, very strong. He knows karate, self-defense. Every time Billy Milligan was caught in a situation where he needed to fight to run away, Reagan would come in. The fourth character is Alan. Alan is a con artist and a manipulator. Every time there was a situation which needed him to talk himself out, Alan would help. Fifth character is Tommy. Tommy is the escape artist. And Tommy is also a wonderful saxophone player. He was actually in a band. So every time Tommy comes over, he'll be playing in a band, a saxophone in a band. And even if you call him Billy, he will not turn. He only responds to the name Tommy. Number 6 is Danny, the keeper of fear, as I explained earlier. Number 7 is David. David is an 8-year-old boy who's a very good artist. When David come over is when every other character is asleep. That means there's no situation needing other helps from the other characters. David would come out and play. Character number 8 is Christine. Christine is a 3-year-old dyslexic girl. Remember I told you these 3 girls were kidnapped? One of them actually said he was very playful, very kind, like a small girl. At that time, in his body, Christine was taking over his body. Character number 9 is Christopher. Christopher is a 13-year-old boy who loves to play drum and harmonica. And character number 10, the most interesting one, is Adelana. Adelana is a 19-year-old lesbian who really craved for attention. Everything that Billy Milligan wished for in his life and he couldn't get always manifested in a form of a personality. When he wanted to learn how to play the saxophone, Tommy came out. When he needed someone to love, Adelina came out. When he needed strength, Reagan came out. So this is his life. And interesting part is, all these 24 characters were able to intercommunicate among themselves. Some even had relationships with each another. For example, Adelana was the cook for all of them. She would ask them what they want to eat the next day or for dinner, and she would be the one cooking it for them. So, when he was caught and questioned in court, they pleaded for insanity, and finally he was sent to a psychiatric center, where initially they only discovered 10 personalities, but upon further investigation, they noted that 23 other personalities inside him. So what the doctors tried to do was to fuse them. The process is also called fusion, to fuse them into one character. And when this was going on, lurking in the dark was the 24th character. The 24th character, who's called the teacher. The teacher is someone who never takes the driving seat, the driver's seat, never comes to the spotlight, but he has always been present. He's the one where these other characters go to learn their special skills from. He was a jack of all trades. He knew all the other characters in and out. So when they tried to unify Billy Milligan's other personalities, they used the teacher as the core to unify them. So the teacher would say things like, "I'm Billy Milligan all in one." So as his life went on, he started being able to control his personalities. He was able to be stable as one particular person, Billy Milligan. Throughout his life, he tried to create a movie. He wrote a book, The Minds of Billy Milligan. You can check it out. It's an interesting book. And After all these episodes happened, and once he was properly healed and discharged, he completely isolated himself from everyone. He did not like the attention which he was getting. So he lived a very private, personal life and finally died in 2014 due to cancer. Okay, so my question now is, do you actually feel anger towards him, or do you actually feel empathetic and concerned? And there are a lot of interesting medical conditions which happen around us that we are not actually aware of. So I would like to just explain one of it to you, see how the response is. Okay, let's make it interesting. Let's say we don't need 24. Let's say you have the choice of having 5 separate personalities in you. What would they be? Comment down below. And also, if you have any other conditions you would like to know better or you'd like me to talk about, comment down below. I'll talk about it. Don't forget to share the video with some of your friends who like this kind of weird incidences, interesting incidences which happen. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Obey all the guidelines for COVID-19. CMC is extended till 9th of June. So, see you all soon. Bye-bye.